Brad. What?
Gage, how you doing, brother? You got me?
Oh yeah, I got you. I can hear you loud and
Good
clear.
deal. Good deal, man. Where you at?
I'm currently at St. Petersburg.
Oh, good. Good. Awesome.
I'm glad to have you on my 100th episode. My first guest, so it's pretty awesome to have you here.
All right, man. Let's make 100. Do it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. First Super Bowl win, so I was like, you know what? I got to get his jersey. I got to get the signed one. Everything.
Yep. You're in, man. 100%. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and to start this interview, I read your book, Play with Passion. Loved it.
Where'd you get the book at?
Oh yeah, it was kind of want to know you personally, not just on the field, but off the field. And your character,
Yep.
I was impressed.
Yep. Very good, man. I enjoyed writing the book. So it was a cool book to write. It took a little time to do it. I know it was a kid's book, but it's kind of fun to put all the stories to paper. You know what I mean? So giving out a lot of those books to a lot of kids.
Yeah, I'm sure you put a lot of motivation in their heads and play with passion. That's something that it's my number one saying is never give up, always have passion in your heart, and that means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it. You got it.
And those kind of started off saying something that I was like, what? You don't like ketchup. You can't stand it, not even the smell.
Yeah. Are we online right now?
Yeah. Oh, not
Oh,
live,
we've already
but this is
started.
recording.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad, man. I thought we were just shooting the bull a bit. Yeah, man. No, seriously. Ketchup. It's like Superman's kryptonite. You know what I mean? So honestly, like I've never eaten ketchup. Okay, so I don't eat ketchup. I don't do it. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. And so when I was my wife, I had like three prerequisites for my wife. Okay, Nikki, we've been married for 23 years. So one, she had to be blonde. Two, she had to have a master's degree because I wanted someone smarter than
Yeah.
me. And three, she couldn't like ketchup. So, and that's my wife, Nikki. She's blonde. She has a master's degree in physical therapy, and she didn't like ketchup. So anytime you come to the house, you got to bring your own ketchup for hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff. It's crazy. My kids like it, but we don't have it in our house. It's the craziest thing. So it's kind of a funny thing. So
Oh man, I bet you had some guests like, you don't have ketchup?
yeah, yeah, it's nuts. Everybody in the whole family, her family. I think when for Nikki, they tried it. Her brothers, they love ketchup, so they would shove her down her throat when she was like a little girl, and she hated it. And so, and honestly, it sounds crazy, but I'd be on a date in high school or college, and the girl brings out we go out and eat. She puts ketchup on the. She starts putting ketchup on her hamburger. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. So, but obviously, I don't like it. It's just one of those things, you know. It's crazy. So,
So
hey,
those
where'd
are
you get the
the
book at? How'd you find the book?
actually I was just looking up kind of just looking up a biography of you, like, or anything you wrote personally. I was like, all right, I better get some
Yeah,
research done before his interview. And I was like, you know what? Why not get this book? Actually
yeah.
found on eBay.
No,
I was
it
like,
was really cool. Honestly, I wrote the book in 1999 or 2000 when I was in Washington playing for the Redskins at that time, Commanders. And so we started putting all these stories in there. And it took a long time. And obviously, you know, you're not writing a big novel and those kind of things. But it was a kid's book. Derek Jeter and a lot of different guys have written these kids books, and it's called Positively for Kids. And so I wrote about all the ups, all the downs in that book, as you read, and then talked about, um, and then as we won the Super Bowl in Tampa, then just kind of put the whole story full circle, that kind of thing. But talked about adversity, talked about um, talked about it, all of it. You know what I mean? So it was really just a fun time for me to share a lot of those stories. You know?
yeah, and there's quite a few like. And speaking of the Washington, you kind of grew up as a fan with them. You had like a lamp, and you had the jersey, or I think the jacket you said was your like favorite thing to wear.
It was. I was actually growing up in North Carolina, um, obviously back then we didn't have all the cable networks, so you were only getting like one game on Sunday afternoons, the 1 o'clock game, and you get like a 7 o'clock game that night, maybe or whatever. But that time there wasn't the Carolina Panthers. Growing up in Black Mountain, North Carolina, it wasn't the Carolina Panthers, not the Tennessee Titans. Um, Atlanta Falcons weren't very good. They weren't on TV. Tampa wasn't good. They weren't on TV.
Yeah.
So I get the Redskin game, and then you get the Miami Dolphin game after that, the last game. And but just grew up a big Redskin fan, and I could name every player on that team and that kind of thing. And when I was younger, we actually took and Boston Celtics were my other favorite basketball team. We actually took a spring break one year. We drove, went through Washington, D.C., got on a sub train just to look at the stadium from the outside at that time. Then we went up to Boston Gardens, and then kind of actually snuck in onto the parquet floor, walked down the floor and saw the Bruins, Celtic banners. That's kind of how I grew. I never went to the beach growing up. I was going always going to some stadium and that kind of thing. But the Redskins were my favorite team, and so I used to wear a leather Redskin jacket to school, like second, third grade, those kind of things. And I mean, I dreamed of playing for them one day. So it was really cool in my career. Obviously I played 2 years there, just to childhood dream to play for my team.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to kind of hit on. Is like must have been a surreal moment, kind of like obviously you played the Vikings for 4 years, and then you moved on to kind of play for your childhood team. That must have been like a huge opportunity to kind of play there. And
it was, and really just I mean, I grew up watching all these teams. Then obviously you got to pinch yourself sometimes that hey, you don't want to ever be in awe of wherever you are. You know what I mean? But because you've earned that right to get there. But like, watching all those, I remember as a little kid, Monday Night Football. That time it was Howard Cosell and Don Meredith and all those guys. And so my dad would let me sleep. I mean, he would let me watch the first half, and then I'd have to go to bed the second half. So I'd watch the first half, and then the second half I'd lay down on the ground and kind of open up my door and just watch through the crack of my door to watch these NFL games. I loved football as a kid, just anything to watch it at that time. We didn't have all the cable networks, but and then to say one day I got to play, in all these stadiums against all these great places that I'd watched all my life, and then to be playing actually on, Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football and eventually the Super Bowl. Those are just kind of dreams. You set dreams as a kid, then you got to go earn it and work for it. And that's, it's kind of cool that it was kind of surreal. I got to do all of that.
Yeah. And I can relate to that because I grew up a Vikings fan originally, and my teacher's Monday night game, my teacher's like, Gage, do not stay up, because I was a fanatic football fan, and I stayed up that night. I was like, okay, I'll watch the first half. I ended up watching the whole thing, and
yeah,
I didn't get much sleep that night. So,
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I actually grew up. I had posters of Fran Tarkenton and Chuck Foreman growing up as a little kid, and then I've actually, I got to meet them and be with them a little bit. So it's kind of cool to kind of meet some of your heroes like that too.
Yeah, Frank Tarkenton. Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite players. I've read all the books about him during his time at the Purple People Eaters, and just like very historic player. It's he changed.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I actually did a book report on him when I was like, I don't know, fourth grade or something like that. And put it in a shoebox. I had to do a thing in the shoebox, and I put it like a gold norm kind of thing of him throwing. He's one of the first guys that ever threw for 40,000 yards. And that at that time, it was just unheard of that would ever be done again. Now you got multiple guys that have done that.
Yeah, like Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, I think up there now too. Yeah, the game just keeps changing. It's crazy. And actually, in your book, you said that you had 4 years of that for a touchdown, and during that time, that really interested me was you actually played in the Europe League. You asked the Vikings kind of do that. And what made you kind of like, okay, I want to go to this league to kind of have a year to kind of reset my stuff? What made you want to do that?
I was growing up, I was a basketball nut. Okay, so I never missed a day of playing basketball from my second grade all the way through my freshman year of college. And I actually ended up playing 2 years of basketball at Florida State. And so truthfully, I was ahead in basketball, and I was really going to be a late bloomer in football. And I started 6 or 7 games at Florida State, and I can't really say my career was very good at Florida State. I can say I love going to Florida State. I respected all my coaches, but career-wise, I was just a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Being a 6'5" guy, I kind of grew into my body, grew into the game, started loving the game, and those kind of things. So when I got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, I was a ninth round pick, which they don't have that now, 227th pick, and they kind of groomed me at Minnesota. At the time, there was Rich Gannon was the starter, Jim McMahon was the starter, and then they brought in Warren Moon, and so I got reps in training camp, but when the season began, I didn't get any reps in practice. Not any reps, not with the offense or not with the scout team. I was the third string quarterback, so I spent all my time on like Tuesdays days off. I'd go throw into a net or get an equipment manager, or after games on Sunday nights I didn't play, I'd go to the fitness center and I'd go work out there, or I'd actually stay in the stadium and run sprints after games in the stadium. And I would just do those kind of things and looking for my opportunity. So in 1995, the World League came back, and there were 6 teams in the World League at that time. It was London, Scotland, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, and there's one other team, Barcelona. And so I needed a chance to just go play because I didn't play much in college. I was an All-American out of high school, but then I didn't play much in college, and I hadn't played really anything in the pros besides maybe some preseason games. So I got a chance to go be the leader of the team, got a chance to go make plays, chance to make mistakes, learn from all those kind of things. And so that time was the boldest decision of my life to go over there because I risked it all.
Yeah.
I could go over there and play bad, and my career is over. And it happened to some guys. 19 quarterbacks went over there. There's only 5 or 6 guys that actually finished the season. So I'm very thankful for that World League at that time, London Monarchs. Then eventually when my time came, I was ready. My dad, I learned a bunch from my dad, but one thing he always taught me that kind of stuck with me, he said, Brad, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So a lot of times quarterbacks are thrown into the fire too fast, or they're saying, they kind of complain about playing time and they're not really doing the work. And so all that time when I wasn't playing, throwing on my days off or after games or going to the World League, I did the work. So when my time came, I got the opportunity to play for the Minnesota Vikings, I was ready.
Yeah, and you spoke to risk, and that really was. But that's what separates the players that kind of stay where they are, and then the people that are like, okay, I got to go outside what everyone else done and do something differently to give me that opportunity. And that's why I was like, that's pretty cool. A lot of people would have not done that.
No doubt about it. And it's really interesting for me, like when people, the greatness of what you did, Gage, you actually bought my book. Okay. And you researched it. Okay. So a lot of times, and in the book we talked about earlier, I talked about adversity. I talk about adversity a lot. And so when I see someone have, when I watch a quarterback or any person, okay, and I want to know one of the first things I want to know about you is what makes you tick. What makes you wake up every morning? What makes you want to be wherever you are, whether it's in sports or whether you're doing podcasts or working at a bank, whatever it is. What makes you tick? And then what adversity have you been through? Because especially playing quarterback, the ring of fire is real. Okay. And I always talk about it like running through the gauntlet. It's like, a pat on the back and slap on the face is only 6 inches away. When you're doing great, everyone's patting you on the back. When you're doing bad, they want to get rid of you. Yeah. You got to be tough between the ears. And what adversity have you been through to get you where you are now that's going to keep you above? Because at some point in your time, you're going to go through a tough time. Tough times are coming. You got to be able to embrace it and then be able to thrive in those moments.
Exactly. And honestly, when I was young, I grew up with autism, and they didn't give us a lot of opportunities in school, especially when you're in a special class, as they would call it. And after time, they would have us clean the cafeterias, all that, even clean trash. and that was
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times a week, and that took me a lot out of classes, everything like that. Because during that time, they have much knowledge on autism and how it really works. They still kind of don't. And obviously, kids would look at me weird. They bullied me. Um, and I was like, eventually, I went through a lot of depression at the time, and I was like, you know what? I can't keep letting people make my choices for me. I can't keep allowing it. And I started a podcast because it was kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing, and I ended up loving football, and I didn't think I really had the opportunity because I couldn't be a player because I didn't have that.
Yep.
I wasn't as gifted, and this podcast kind of gave me that another way of accomplishing my dream, and I can help my autism community through this and make sure no one has to go through that pain, that they have another opportunity outside of what they're given. As long as they ask for help and
Yep. No doubt.
like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. I mean, and that's the greatness of you. Like you're carving your own path. You know what I mean? And so not everyone's going to get a handout. And obviously, you had to overcome a lot to be where you are. But you set goals for yourself. What makes you tick? You found that reason, and then the thought of the saying is, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. And so that's what you give back, and that's what you've accomplished for you, and then you're giving back to your community, and the greatness of you is how you grow in your podcast and wherever you take it. You know what I mean? So it's awesome. You got a great story to tell and share as it goes on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was this being here right now talking with you. This is something I wouldn't have thought of that would even happen for years and years. And it's a great opportunity to have you here. And we both had adversity, and now I look at it as bad and good. That's just all nature, and it's supposed to happen. That's who made me me. That's why I almost thank the people that bullied me because they gave me strength. Because it's like if I can go through that, nothing can stop me now.
Yep, no doubt, no doubt. And yeah, exactly. And you embraced it and you dealt with it. And listen, we all go through tough times. We all like tough people last long in tough times, and we all go through dark times. But then if you have goals, what makes you tick and what makes you want to wake up every day, then you're going to get through it. You know what I mean? You have, and then and the other thing is things like that will come up again. You're always going to have the naysayers. You're always going to have people that doubt you. And like at the end of the day, it's your story. It's your life, and it's your life to live, and your life to give to others. And so that's the greatness of what you're accomplishing. But no, man, I appreciate you reaching out and doing this podcast because sometimes it's hard to get a whole lot of guys. But
Oh yeah,
I try to open up and just for these kind of opportunities. I'm thankful to be on your show.
yeah, and speaking of, and I'm impressed with your trick shots, man. I'm watching. I'm like, there is no way I could do that. That's crazy. Do you do like preparation before to do that, or it's kind of like?
It's wild. It is really wild. So when I first started doing things on TikTok, I started doing things like of my playing career, workouts and stuff like that. And then I saw people making trick shots. And so, a lot of them were like one shot wonders. It might be a full length of the court, making a shot. And I'm like, you know what? Because I did play basketball. Obviously, I can throw a football. I said, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to make a sequence of maybe a sequence of 3, 4, maybe 5 shots in a row. And you ever play that basketball game called Round the World? So you start at the block and you kind of go
Okay, yeah.
block to the middle to the corner to the foul line, go around. Then you got to come back. And then if you miss one, you get the chance it, and then or not, you got to go to the beginning. But when I do these trick shots, man, it's it gets wild. So sometimes it's me in a tripod when I go out there. So I got to entertain. How am I going to make these shots with one camera angle? And I try to make 3, 4, 5 in a row, and I may make 2 in a row, then I miss the third one. And then I may make 3 in a row, I miss the fourth one. And then you go back and you start having a hard time making the second shot. But eventually when these shots go in, I found out like the more you practice something, the better you become at it. And I look at how much better I am now at some of the trick shots than I was when I first began. Those were hard. Now they're kind of easy for me. But when you see me out there, if I got sweat on me like that, I've been out there working. I've been out there getting after it. So if I tell people with those things, with the trick shots, for me, I'm there to entertain. I'm there to hope to bring laughter and smiles, and I'm hoping to bring you back and say, what's next? How did he do that? And the three things I do say with my trick shots, sometimes it's first time, first take. There have been like that, but it takes what it takes. And there's one trick shot I spent up to 15 hours doing it, 15 hours. And so 7 days of 2 hours a day kind of thing, basically. And then the last one is it takes a lifetime of practice. So some of those shots, like, not many people in the world can do it because I know what it takes. And there's one I hit like 5 doinks in a row from the corner pocket to the second pole. Like, I don't know if that'll ever be done again. Like, it took skill, but also took a little bit of luck. And I mean, call Mahomes to call Brady or Aaron Rodgers. I don't think those. It took that much luck to go along with it too. So, but I enjoy it, and hopefully everyone has fun with them too.
Yeah, and now it's kind of a trend. Like the one dude I follow, he's part of the Barstool. Stephen Chili. He's doing his own trick shots, kind of see what he can do. It's cool to see how everyone kind of do similar things that you're doing. It's pretty cool.
It's fun. I think what you find is like there's a lot of gifted people out there. So they're really, I mean, some really gifted people. Whatever, not just trick shots or whatever they do. And so you find the greatness in others, and then you find what I have with mine is just a passion to go out there and like do it. And it really becomes not therapy, but kind of a goal. Like, can I actually achieve? Can I do this? And sometimes I'll go a day and I don't make it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sweating. I'm going through it. My holy smokes, but I never quit. I'll never go to another trick shot until I achieve that particular one. And it takes work, but it's fun to do. And I'd say just having a passion, something fun to do is what I like about it. And some others, they may not be able to do it quite as good as you or whatever, but then they're having their own passion, their own story, and maybe whatever that goal is to make, and they're kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty good how the community kind of comes together with that. And I have to ask. This is a question that I've been really looking forward to. I just want to kind of see like the Super Bowl season. You have the Bucs. I just want to kind of see your perspective the whole season, your ups, downs, some games that you had to work tooth and nail to kind of win.
Football is hard. It's hard to get a first down. It's hard to score a touchdown. It's hard to win a game. That's why you don't really see people go undefeated. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't get to buy your team.
Yeah.
You kind of you draft it and here you go. And I remember when in high school, I never won a state championship. In the college, I never won. We never won the national championship. We had some really good teams, but never won it. And I'd been in the pros for 9 years, going to my 10th year with Tampa, and had been on a bunch of playoff teams, but we had never won it. And sometimes you think that game might be bigger than you. Sometimes, like that team's going to win. Well, I've done the work. We've done the work. Why can't it be us? And it takes better have talent. You better have great coaches. You better play good. You better stay healthy. And then you got to maybe have a break along the way. And when John Gruden came in there, he made a bunch of moves in free agency. He brought in Joe Giravicius and Kenny McCardell and Ricky Dudley and Ken Dilger and Robin Oben, our left tackle, and Kerry Jenkins, our left guard. And obviously we had Keyshawn Johnson and Mike Allstott. And we brought in Michael Pittman. He made a bunch of moves. And obviously we had a great defense. But we made it very competitive in practice. And we went 3-1 every 4 games. So we ended up the season at 12-4. And early in the year, we lost to Philadelphia, October 20th of that year. And they'd been our nemesis forever, beating us in the playoffs, beating in the regular season. That game, I cracked my ribs and felt like a Rocky dog. I got beat up in Philadelphia, man. You know what I mean? But we got through the season somehow. And then we went back up to Philadelphia. And then we all the odds were against us, playing in the cold, playing on the road, last game of the vet, playing against our nemesis. And then obviously we won the game. But I just say everybody that got hurt that year, they found a way to get back onto the field. And we never stopped believing even if we had an upset, even if we lost a game, whatever it was, we lost the first game of the season that year. but we were competitive and we got better and better as the season went along, especially offensively. If you look at our numbers, about halfway through the season, we were on fire. And sometimes we'd have a lot of big numbers in the first half, and sometimes we'd start running the clock out, and third we'd run the ball down, so you didn't get a lot of the big numbers. But thankful for John Gruden. Look at our coaching staff. Mike Tomlin, defensive back coach, he went on to become a head coach and win Super Bowls with Pittsburgh. And Rich Bisaccia went on to be a head coach. Rod Marinelli went on to be a head coach. Raheem Morris, who was an assistant, he went on to be a head coach. So what I'm saying is we had great players and great coaches, and we just all came together.
That's pretty awesome. And yeah, I liked how you kind of mentioned the staff, because obviously you don't get those staff again. After that season, a lot of them went off and did their own thing, and kind of shows that it's all in one. Like, you're not going to have the same players, the same coaches. And actually, you had two familiar players when you got to Tampa, Jeff Christie and Randall McDaniel. How did that did that make you more comfortable under center?
It did. I had Jeff Christie we were together for 6 or 7 years in Minnesota. Jeff was tremendous at making all the line calls. He's a guy, our offensive line doesn't really get any credit, and really much of the offense. But Jeff Christie was a team captain on that team. He was a Pro Bowl player at Minnesota. He'd been a Pro Bowl player at Tampa the year before. Just a tremendous, really smart guy. Made all the calls for me, and we worked really well together. And obviously, Randall McDaniel went on to be a Hall of Fame left guard. But yeah, those relationships, and I had a relationship with Tony Dungy. He'd been together with me in Minnesota for 3 years as the defense coordinator, and Clyde Christensen, the offense coordinator. I knew him from the Pro Bowl. But then a lot of the other connections with Derek Brooks and Ward Dunn and Dexter Jackson. I knew a lot of those guys from Florida State. So a bunch, and then again, I'd played against Tampa for all those years, being in Minnesota and Washington, and we just, from John Lynch to Warren Sapp and all those guys. We had great, and we all knew each other, off the field, even though I was playing for a different organization.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You have the connections, and one thing here in NFL, it's all about the connection, especially it's because of that chemistry, I believe, and it's pretty awesome. I forgot you and Derek Brooks met at Florida State, and then you just mentioned. I was like, you know what, that probably would build that little chemistry because you guys know each other, not just for the NFL but for college. So I bet that helped a lot.
Yeah, all those relationships matter, and you know what guys are about. Sometimes you have some great players, but they're front runners. But with, like Derek Brooks, he was an All-American in high school, All-American at Florida State, and then obviously a Hall of Fame player. But you knew what you're getting into because I'd played against those guys so many times in Minnesota and Washington. Just had great respect for them as people and obviously the team. And I want to be a part of that team in free agency, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, now it seems like you're kind of stuck in Florida. You're like, yeah, I love Tampa. How do you like living down here? I know you've been here for a little bit now.
Yeah, we actually live in Athens, Georgia. That's our home now. And I had played 4 years down in Tampa. Went to school at Florida State. So I spent 5 years in college and lived there for 12 years throughout my playing career. So it was I got a lot of years in the state of Florida, and obviously a lot of friends and connections.
Yeah, and I've been here for a little bit, and honestly, I don't. This place is too awesome to leave. I love the community. Since I got here, I've gotten into the Buccaneers community and all that, and it really is family. It's like you're just like your second family. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great fan base. Obviously, when we won in 2003, they went to the playoffs. I think been in the playoffs once or twice, and then kind of really wasn't even close. And then obviously, made a little run here the last couple of years. Brady came to town and brought in a lot of free agents, and so the Buccaneer fan base is back out in great fashion again.
Yeah, and speaking of the Bucs, like their season, so what do you think of the all-season moves, like Kyle Rudolph recently, and they're picking up Logan Ryan, all those kind of guys? Do you think they're going to be one of the final teams in the NFL season? in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I mean, it's just you never know with injuries. You never know with new guys. Um, but obviously, you got a great nucleus of guys coming back, and obviously you got Brady who's coming back. You feel like you got a chance with him every week, not alone every season. That you're going to have a chance to win the game, even if things don't go well. So it'll be it's a new experience. I have Todd Bowles as the head coach, but you got your coordinator back and Byron Leftwich, and on offense, and then but yeah, free agency and moves in the offseason with the draft. It's always an evolution of change. So it's gonna make it great. We'll see how it goes. I know they're getting ready to crank it up for training camp.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. Like, I love the chemistry and Brady coming back. I'm honestly at 45, almost 45. I'm like, how the heck do you keep doing that, man? Like, like how he keeps his body like in tune, and it's crazy. It's when you look back, the only person that's really done it was George Blonde back in like the 40s, or I think it was like the 60s.
Yeah, I mean the only guy. Yeah, I'm with you there. Now I was with Warren Moon. He made it to 45. But he had a year or two when he was 40s. He didn't play as much. He made it that long, and then George Blanda, you said, and Vinny Testaverde maybe he got up there, and then Steve DeBerg was kind of in and out. But the way Tom has kept himself in shape, you really feel like he looks better now than he did when he's 30, and his arm is still the same. He's never lost any speed because his speed is not. He's got the same speed at 45 as he did 25. So, but he is phenomenal to watch, and I think what's great about him is he's got every number, obviously all the rings, but the greatness of him is his passion for the game, and he gives you a chance to win every week, and he keeps everybody on the same page. He's a guy that comes through in the clutch, and that's what I think most about him. Everyone gets caught up into how far can you throw a ball or how fast you are. Like, to me, the quarterback position is all about decision making, understanding your protections, going through your progressions, and getting the ball out of your hands, managing the game, and take shots when you need them, and then come through in the clutch. And Tom, that's his name in Wikipedia, clutch.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of people look, oh, this guy's has talent. There's a lot of people that have talent now forward. They wouldn't be here, but it takes work off the field. It takes getting the right route 1,000 times, doing it over and over. And that's what Tony Dungy talked about. That's how he kind of groomed you guys into is like, do it automatically. So you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it's got to become second nature. And that's where, guys are now, there used to be off seasons, but now guys, it's not off seasons really aren't that long. You're kind of working out together somewhere else or keeping your body in. I think guys keep themselves in better shape than they do now than back in the day. And the systems have gotten better. But quarterbacks are incredible to watch. The numbers that they're putting up, the game has changed. That's why you see them better numbers. But to watch, a guy like Brady operate, it's phenomenal.
It is. And I want to say again for being on the show. I would have a little longer, but Zoom is telling me it's about the end of that. So honestly, it's been a privilege to have you on the show. I'm glad to have you as my first guest. Want to have anyone other than Brad Johnson? That's pretty
awesome. Man. No, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you reaching out. It's been fun to be on your show, and appreciate the jersey you're wearing and everything else. I love being on your show. Anytime we can ever do something again, let me know, man. We'll have fun.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd love to have. Yeah, I'd love to have you on my show again, and maybe during the season we'll talk about the Bucs, how they're doing, and all that kind of stuff.
That'd be great.
Have a good rest of your day, and go Bucs.
All right, man. You too, Gage. Thanks, buddy.